from the vault, high atop the pastoral center of the Diocese of Camden, you're listening to Talking Catholic.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Talking Catholic. It's Kari, Janisse here, and I'm once again with my good friend Mike Walsh. Hey, Mike.
Hey, Kari. How are you?
I am good. I'm chilling, enjoying Lent.
I know. I was gonna say we're recording during Lent. This is I always consider this like the high point of my communications life, because I know this is when people tend to be just out of human nature. I feel like this is the time when people really start focusing on the faith. So this is where I really like to have good, deep conversations and try to put out as much information as I can, because I think this is when people are going to be most receptive.
Yeah, it's really, really so true. I was so inspired yesterday at Mass and just being around the church, because I work at the church all day yesterday, and just seeing, I was like, at first I was mad because I couldn't get a parking spot, and I'm like, no, this is good. This is so good. The amount of people that come out for ashes, it just always amazes me. And some people get annoyed, like, where are these people all year? And I'm like, no, this is beautiful. This is the start of something so great in their life and their faith journey, and a great place to start. Ash Wednesday, let's go. Putting a big black cross on your forehead, because the crosses are back. And I was excited about that as well. So.
For the listeners, we are recording this on Thursday, so we are talking about Ash Wednesday being yesterday. But I don't know when you'll be listening to this. But it was a great Ash Wednesday. I was live streaming and doing photography simultaneously. Man, do I know how to multitask?
You are the man.
I am, in fact, the man. I'm willing to accept that title now, because I was impressed by what I was doing. But we were live streaming Bishop Sullivan's Ash Wednesday 12:05 Mass at the Cathedral,
saw that.
And it was beautiful because it was full. Everyone was excited about the crosses being back. Not me, because I enjoyed the sprinkling last year. I love a good sprinkle over the cross. I guess I'm very European like that. But everyone was excited about it. I got a ton of great photographs of people getting their ashes on their forehead. But I was so focused on what I was doing. I shot things. I was live streaming things. We did everything. We got everything packed up, because it also happened to be publication day for the newspaper. So I was rushing around. And then at one point, someone took a look at me and said, "You didn't get ashes." You didn't get ashes. I was like, not only did I not get ashes, nobody offered. The priest secretary, the vicar general, nobody came over and said, "Hey, Mike, we noticed you didn't get this." I'm like, oh man, I got looked over.
Maybe you got the sprinkling. They were thinking you loved it so much. You were very European, and you wanted to keep it going.
You think maybe it was like a drive-by? They just came by me real quick and threw some on the top of my head, and I got some for you, Mike. Well, as I remind everybody, including some of my coworkers, Ash Wednesday is not a holy day of obligation.
Yep.
Even nothing about it is obligated, and yet it's one of the biggest days for Catholics to come to church, which I certainly don't want to get in the way of. But what I've explained to people is it's at this point, certainly in the United States, I don't know about the rest of the world, but I'm willing to bet it is. It's cultural as much as it is anything else. You feel we've now sort of have it so ingrained in ourselves. We feel not obligated isn't the right word, but
the pull.
We feel the pull to get our ashes. Or it's my other theory that people love to come to church when the church is giving stuff away, ashes and palms.
But I think of that too. But then I'm like, really, who wants a black cross on their forehead? Like, what? I don't know. How beneficial is that?
How upset were you over the last 2 years?
I love it, but I'm talking about people that aren't maybe everyday practicing, and it's like this pull on Ash Wednesday.
See, I disagree with you. I think there is a pull for it. I think people do love doing it. The other reminder is, remember, it's not just a Catholic thing.
It is true.
Most of the Christian faiths do it. Somebody was telling me that a friend of theirs was walking through Center City, Philadelphia, and a Methodist priest came up and asked if they wanted ashes. And they accepted them, even though they weren't necessarily a person of faith, but they appreciated the symbolism of it.
Yeah.
So they did it.
It's nice. Yeah, I got stopped at Sam's Club. Where'd you get your ashes? I was like, right down the street. Our Lady Peace. And I wrote down the church address for her. She was psyched. And then she proceeded to tell me how she moved here recently from Philly. She's looking for a Catholic church. So it is the greatest evangelization tool. It really is. I love it for that reason.
I saw one of the priests of the diocese actually posted something that it's also a great tool if you're looking for a single, if someone is interested in a single Catholic just start looking to who's got their crosses on Ash Wednesday and see if they got a ring on their finger, and that's the person.
Oh, that's interesting. I didn't even think about that.
They have a cross and they don't have a
then
ring.
Then you look down. Yeah.
Go after them. That's
there you go. There's your tip.
There's your Christian mingle. Walsh. There's your Christian mingle technique for next. You got to wait another year now, but give it a whirl. Yeah. That's funny. So yeah, I am very excited about it. It's I've already seen a lot of the stuff that the parishes and the diocese have planned for this year, and it definitely feels like we're back to normal, as close as we can be.
Yeah, it's good. It is good. I'm excited about it.
It is. This is going to be, I think this is going to be the first time in 2 years where we get a lot of that feeling. And my son is looking for retreats to go to for a variety of reasons. And it's good.
Things are happening. It's funny. I think I said this last year, and I kind of feel it a little bit like March comes around. I get like PTSD from 2 years ago. I'm like, oh my gosh, the world's shutting down. But like last year, definitely. This year, I'm like, ooh, but no, there's this to look forward to and that to look forward to. So just keep my focus on the, day to day on what's going on, all the good things, which is a lot for Lent, a lot in our diocese, a lot of great things.
And you and I get to actually enjoy it for once. Well, because usually we're running it from behind the scenes. And now we may actually be able to enjoy some Lenten
it'd be nice.
things. Actually, there's something coming up, as a matter of fact, that both of us enjoy. You actually help put it together.
Yeah, I'm on the committee.
Yeah, I race
Somehow,
for vocations.
I actually haven't really made a meeting, but I get all the emails. Okay. But yeah, I race for vocations. Yeah, it's such a great event of our diocese.
It is one. If I had to rank it, it's definitely in the top 3 favorite events in the diocese.
Oh, 100%.
For those who aren't familiar, it's something. It was actually the first year of the pandemic. It was supposed to be celebrating its 10th anniversary, and ended up being canceled. And then it was canceled the following year as well. So I guess I don't know if you can call it. It is the 10th annual I Race for Vocations this year, even though it's 12 years after it began. But it's an outdoor event. It's intended. It's not even really a faith raiser. It's a vocations raiser. It's free of charge. It's you get a great mass with Bishop Sullivan. Afterwards, there's a 5K race, a 1 mile walk, entertainment, food,
T-shirt. You get a free T-shirt.
That's right. You get free T-shirt. You get free food.
T-shirts.
And all we ask.
Family entertainment.
Yeah. And all we ask is that you pray for vocations.
Yeah, it's so simple and such a great concept. And, people love 5Ks. And if you're not a runner, then people, just to walk together, be together, be outside together. It's just a nice event. It's a nice day. It's well put together, well organized.
What day is it this year?
It's Sunday, April 3rd. April 3rd. So
location?
New location, yes. It's at the Cooper River
Park in Pennsauken. Beautiful park.
Yeah,
Absolutely
just to be walking along the river there, running along the river, and it's always a great event. And mass starts with mass, so you get your Sunday obligation in at a new, a unique venue, outdoor mass. So bring a lawn chair or blanket, and come on out. You can, sign up online beforehand is always ideal because then it guarantees your T-shirt and your T-shirt size. That's right. The best place to sign up. And it does help, for logistically for all of us to plan things out and how many sandwiches we need and all those things. But needless to say, sign up online, CamdenPriest.org, and you can check it out. All the details are up there as well.
Yep, CamdenPriest.org. I will tell you, if you're interested in the T-shirts, all the credit in the world to John Kalitz. He gets high-quality T-shirts. They always look great.
They do.
I now have a selection of them that are my daily T-shirts because they're such high-quality T-shirts. So the T-shirt alone is worth coming out. Oh, and vocations as well. But I do hope people come. The staging area will be right across the street from Bishop Eustace High School. And it's going to be great. So
yeah, it's a great event. Check it out. CamdenPriest.org. Sign up. Bring your family. It's a good time.
And it starts around, I think
12 noon starts registration, but 1 o'clock is the mass. And then following the mass is the race. So approximately 3 p.m., the kickoff of the race. And then right after the race wraps up, which some of these people, to run a 5K is 10 minutes. They're done, the beginning of it. But I would say, anytime around 3:30 to 5 is the family entertainment. So special visits by special visitors coming up.
That's true. I will tell you that someone on this podcast may be a member of the entertainment. And if you're lucky, they'll be about 8 feet over your head when you see them.
Yeah, it'd be something like that.
Something to say.
Give me a high five.
That's right. I was just going to say something else about it, and now it popped out of my head. Shucks, I
just
can't remember.
how great of a family event it is, and entertainment-wise. And
It is, and truly, something that across the country, across the world, we're really trying to push is vocations.
So needed today.
We are lucky this year that 5 of our seminary.
We are blessed. Truly blessed.
Depends on what side of the aisle you're on. I'm lucky or blessed. Either way, I'm excited that we're going to have 5 new priests, God willing.
Oh my gosh, I just got 2 invitations in the mail, and I'm like, this is going to be a busy weekend. The ordination, the first masses, the receptions, but I'm so excited for them. 2 of my really good friends are getting ordained.
Which 2 are those?
Deacon Steve Robbins and Deacon Chris Myers.
Oh, that's right.
And Deacon Paul, too. My husband was like, we're probably going to get a 3rd one of these. Well, Paul, if you're listening, send it out.
I don't know. I'm actually trying to figure out how we're going to cover all of these
I was
first
thinking
masses.
of you, because I was like, I got to attend these. Mike's got to cover
I got to
these.
work them. I'm going to die.
Yeah.
That's what's going to happen.
So, well,
Anyway.
it's beautiful. We have 5 new priests, God willing, come May 14th, and it's all it's all part of this, fostering vocations and praying for vocations. That's such a big component of it.
Which kind of leads us into our episode for today. So as Kari has talked about a couple times, we actually did it very recently. We were trying to make an effort to have people from each of the religious communities in South Jersey to come on the podcast. We've had the CFRs, we've had Franciscans, we've had a couple others. It's always great. We haven't had many. We've only had one other male religious, which was the Oblates. We had Father John Fisher come on probably 3 years ago.
Before my time.
Before your time. It was a lovely conversation. If you didn't hear that one, it's actually one of the ones that I remember the most. Actually, I got a couple of great tips out of that episode. So if you want, go back and listen to Father John Fisher's. We'll have to have him come back on too. Or that. Actually, Jen Morrow has been trying to get him on for a while, so that may very well happen. Jen. But today we have a different one. We have your pastor on and members of his community. Yeah, so we have the Vincentian Congregation. And so we have my pastor, Father Sanjai. We also have our associate priest, Father Shaji, and then our priest in residence at Our Lady of Peace, Father Naveen. So hello to the 3 of you guys.
Hi. Hey, Kari.
So it's good to have you guys here. It's so nice to be together. And yeah, this is, maybe if you want to just start with a little bit about your background, your priesthood, since we were talking about vocations, just a simple version of your vocation story, because that usually could be a podcast in itself for some priests. Some other priests, it's pretty quick, short and to the sweet, but wait, short, sweet, and to the point. I combined that. Yeah, that was hard. So, Father, if you'd like to share yours first.
Okay, thanks for having us. So excited to be here.
This is actually quite a coup. Father Sanjai and I worked on the same floor for about 5 years, and he avoided me like the plague. But Kari gets her grips into somebody, and suddenly she's on the podcast.
6 months into him being my pastor, and we're recording.
So finally, the famous Father Sanjai Devis is on my podcast.
Thanks for having us again. It's 6 years, Mike. We were on the same floor.
That's right.
Yes. So. Where do I start? Okay.
Well, actually, if before you start about your personal journey, can you tell us a little bit about the Vincentians?
Okay. We belong to the community called the Vincentian Congregation, inspired by Saint Vincent de Paul. But there are 2 Vincentian religious communities. One was started by Vincent de Paul himself in France, but ours was started in Kerala, southern state in India. It was started in 1904. It started actually 20th November 1904 by actually 3 priests from the local archdiocese. The bishop there went to Parish, lived with the original Vincentian, started by Vincent de Paul himself, which is called the Congregation of Mission. And he stayed with them for 3 months. So when he stayed with them, lived with them, experienced their community life and their ministry, he was so excited. He really loved their charism, which is evangelization of the poor. And he brought one of their common rules, their constitution, back to his home diocese. And he invited any of the priests from the diocese who wanted to start a community, and 3 of the priests came forward. And he gave them one of the parishes and a rectory there. And that's how it all came about. 3 priests from the Archdiocese.
Kind of like what we have right here.
Yes.
Don't create a new order, though. We like this order.
Yeah.
Well, that's fascinating. And, as we've talked, and I'm sure everyone will be able to tell from your accents as part of the podcast, I've often been curious, certainly we're familiar with, in terms of Indian Catholics, we're familiar with Mother Teresa and her community. What is the Catholic breakdown in India? Do you have a rough idea?
Christians are 2.3%.
Wow.
Yes.
That's 2.3% out of a billion, though.
1.38 billion.
Wow. And they're Christians, so like the Catholic breakdown would even be further from there.
1.7 maybe.
Okay.
Around
pretty
that.
Close.
Yeah. They are mostly concentrated in the south and northeast. And there are two waves of Christianity in India. First one was by the Doubting Thomas, one of Jesus' own disciples. He was supposed to have come to India in the year 52. Because the southern state where we come from had trade relations with the Middle East because we have a lot of spices, for coffee, tea, pepper, all kinds of spices. That's how it was supposed to have come to Kerala, where we are from. Actually, we have a synagogue from the 1st century there.
Really?
Yeah, it traces back to a small Jewish community there, not too far from where we are. Two of us are from, Father Shaji and myself. That was the first phase of Christianity, and he was there for 20 years. Wow. He went along the coastal lines and in the southern part of the country and evangelized, a lot of Hindu, from the Hindu religion. And the second phase was Francis Xavier and the Jesuit missionaries came to Goa, and that was, so two phases of Christianity coming to India. That's how. So we belong to actually one of the Eastern Catholic rites called Syro-Malabar Rite. My brother priest, you want to say something about the Syro-Malabar Rite?
Yes, we three of us belongs to Syro-Malabar Rite, one of the Eastern churches in the Roman Catholic Church. We are so proud to say that we are the descendants of Saint Thomas Apostle, and we belong to that tradition, and we have a little bit liturgy also a little bit different than what we have here. Our vestments and the way of the mass and other liturgies little bit different. So we have a great tradition we have received from the Saint Thomas, one of the apostles of Jesus. So we are still continuing that tradition in our churches.
That's beautiful. The tradition
there
goes
are
back.
23 Eastern Catholic rites.
Oh my!
And then we have the Roman, Roman rite, which is we are all familiar with the Latin rite.
Right. Now, was that hard to learn the two different masses? You had to learn the Roman Catholic, or
when we are out of our diocese, we are permitted to celebrate masses where we are working. So we are given the permission by ritual.
So did you learn it at ordination both, or did you learn it when you... Okay.
Before ordination we are used to. Because I studied another place, another diocese, a Latin diocese seminary. It is run by Capuchin fathers, Order of Friar Minors Capuchins. So there we have mass and everything in Latin rite. So we used to.
So you got used to
and
it. And
before ordination, we learned also. We are part of that. So it is easy for us.
Yeah, we do get, liturgical celebrations, the theology of both the Eastern and the Roman rite in our seminaries. And most of our seminaries, we have, especially three rites from India, the Latin rite, the Syro-Malabar, and there's another Eastern rite called Syro-Malankara. Oh, yeah. So most of our seminaries, we have seminaries from all these three, two Eastern rites and the Roman rite.
Interesting.
And the fact that the faith in India, that part of India, goes back 1,000 years or 2,000 years.
2,000 years.
That
53.
That is truly amazing. My math skills
amazing.
are terrible, but that is really impressive, actually. And the fact that it is an enormous country and with an enormous population. So you were talking earlier. I mean, it's roughly 1.3 million Catholics in that vicinity, which is no small order, even though it's such a minority. Yeah, it's really incredible. So I guess the question is, what were your faith journeys like? How did you sort of, Father Sanjai, how did you kind of come to consider the priesthood? Like, where did you hear that call first?
Okay. Growing up, I actually went to one of the Vincentian schools. That was a local church. So not a parish, it was kind of a station church, if you want to call it. So I was only like 10 minutes away from that community. So I was so used to associating with the Vincentians. And I have 3 of my family members in the Vincentian congregation. Wow. So already there was that connection. And I come from especially my dad's side of the family, there are a lot of priests and religious. I think we have like 23 nuns in the family.
Oh, my heavens.
That is amazing.
First cousins, second cousins, uncles and aunts. So I was already associated with them. But when I was in high school, kind of moved away from church and the sacraments and all of that.
Typical.
But then when I was finishing my high school, I attended an ordination, which was in my home parish. And that kind of really, caught my attention or, really touched me because, the priest, the bishop lays hands on this priest, this person, and then becomes a priest. He's ordained a priest. And then next, he's celebrating the Mass and he's raising the host and the chalice. And, it truly becomes the body and blood of Christ. And that really, touched my heart and caught my attention. And that's kind of, I would say, the aha moment or, that special moment. And then my uncle came that summer vacation to my house and said, what are you doing? I just finished my high school. I was thinking of going into my dad. My dad was a physician, so he wanted me to go that line. Yeah. I was thinking about that, and then my uncle said, no, you come to our provincial house. That was the and meet with the vocations director there. And my dad and mom were not at home at the time. It was just 3 of us, my siblings there. They had gone for a wedding. When he came back, I told my dad and my mom, and they said, if uncle said that, we are going.
Oh, wow.
So we went and had our interview, and that was kind of the starting point, and went to the seminary and started that journey.
And during that process or the consideration prior then, like when you were discerning, did you ever have any resistance to it, or did you feel kind of from that first ordination, did you feel really moved, like you knew that was the direction you wanted to go?
At that time, but again, during the formation, I was in the seminary our formation is about 12 years.
Oof,
like becoming a doctor.
Finish your high school and start. Yeah. And then we have novitiate, which is our religious formation, and we take the vows. Yeah. We have a year of pastoral experience, pastoral year. So it's, about 12 years. So in between, there are a couple of times when my mom passed away when I was doing my college seminary, and she was the one who wanted me to be, encouraged me to become a priest because my dad wanted me to follow his career. My mom was in the convent, actually.
Really?
She left when she was in the novitiate because she got sick. So she always prayed, it seems, one of her children would join the religious life. And so she always encouraged me. And I lost her when I was my second year of college seminary. And that really was very difficult. Yeah. But then, my family and my friends supported me, and that's how. And my little sister is also a nun, so we have 2 in the family.
That's good.
Yeah,
I like that. I'm glad you continued on. I asked because we've had a lot of priests on. We talk about the vocation story all the time, and to a man, you are now, I believe, going to be the first one that. Every time we've ever had, we've asked about their vocation stories. They've all said the exact same thing. I didn't want to be a priest. I did my best not to be a priest. I resisted it.
Way a lot.
And then I finally listened to God and I moved my way through.
And here it was. Yeah.
I think maybe only Father Peter Gallagher might be the only person we had on that didn't resist, other than yourself now.
Yeah, it's true. And, I'm sure it's a lot of the fruit of your mom's prayer. And then her interceding from heaven, God willing.
Yes.
We hope that she is in heaven and interceding for you. So special. I remember talking to another priest, and they were saying about somebody that wanted to also be a doctor. And they ended up entering the seminary. And he said, well, you're going to be a doctor of souls. So it's really true. You're a doctor of souls, and you might not have followed your father's profession, but you're a doctor of souls and helping the souls to heaven. So cleaning them up, getting them well, and strengthening them.
And actually, we'll get into Father Sanjai's career a little later, but he has spent quite a bit of time in the medical world.
Yeah, it's amazing how God
as a
did
priest.
that.
So one way or the other, you got in there. So, but let's talk to Father Naveen. How about your? We haven't had a chance to have you talk yet. So, what was your faith journey like?
My faith journey began with my family, because we are 8 children in the family, and my mom and dad always prayed that one should become a priest or nun. We are 4 brothers and 4 sisters, and 2 of them went and came back. So I am the 7th one as a boy, as a young boy. So I went to the school, boarding school, studied. So I stayed 5 years in the boarding school and stayed with a priest and nuns. And the 3 priests and 7 nuns, they were teaching us. So the boarding director, actually, he inspired me a lot to become priest. And he's the one, I can say, is my vocation, inspiration in a way. And still I have contact with him. Whenever I go home, I meet him, and we have a long chat. In fact, he lost one of his leg from the knee immediately after his ordination, maybe 6 months after that. Met with an accident, and he lost his leg. But he was our principal for 12 years in the school. So I stayed with him 6 years, 5th grade to 10th grade. So I was, in a way, I was his in his good, good boy. So I used to help him to climb the steps. He used to hold me and to climb the steps. And we used to play badminton together, though he had an artificial leg. So in a way, he inspired me to become a priest. And here I am. More than that, my parents, my mom and dad, prayed for me. So I went to a Salesian college for my theology classes. I lost my dad when I was about to become a deacon. So he's the one, as Father Sanjai said, in my family, my father is the one who encouraged all of us to become, priests or nuns, but they did not. So when I lost my dad, I came home for his funeral, but I could not reach because I was in northeast of the country, and I had to travel to south. By train, it takes 4 days and 4 nights.
Wow.
So I could not make it. And when I came home, again, my mother encouraged me, saying that you should become a priest for him. So then I went to the provincial house, and I was ordained as a deacon by myself alone. Because I was late, because I could not participate in the other group. This is my vocation story, and yes, my parents and my teachers, nuns, and the priest encouraged me a lot.
Wow. That's it is amazing how powerful when you have a relationship like that in the early days. I've known a lot of seminarians in my life, not the current batch, but older seminarians, because I'm old. And it is true that the relationship with a good priest really does foster.
It makes all the difference.
It really does. Yeah. It's really impressive. So all you priests out there, I'm sure you're listening to our podcast, but you have a great importance to continuing the vocations.
That's a great role.
Yeah, so it's no small thing. And as we have seen, so do families. If you encourage your children, if you see a spark in them, you feel something for them. We talk about this on the podcast a lot. If you feel that they may have a calling the priesthood, you have to say something to them. Because if no one ever says something to them, they may not consider it. How many times have you said it to you, Kari? How many times have you said it to someone you saw?
Nobody really said it to me.
I was actually sitting
not my
here.
vocation.
I was actually sitting here. Did anyone ever talk to her about becoming a nun? Because
I think we talked about this on the
we
last
did.
one.
We did.
Yeah, it was like Sister Dorothy for a minute, and then that was it.
That didn't work.
Yes, many.
Yeah.
And then the ones that I know are discerning, encouraging that discernment, encouraging even the application. It can't hurt to apply, to take that next step.
That's right.
So there have been many through the years. Some are priests now, some are married now, and that's okay. It's all about that discernment process.
The seminarians are married now, not the priests, right?
Yes, some have left the seminary and now married. Let me make that very clear.
Clear that up.
Yes.
Not that we don't have married priests in the Catholic Church, but it's a really weird, winding way to get there.
Yeah, it's not the norm.
You got to start as an Episcopalian, and then it's a long
come
journey.
over.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, Father Shaji, how about your story?
Well, I joined after my high school graduation. I had a thought to join the seminary when I was in the 8th grade.
Oh, wow.
That time one of my cousins joined because he completed his high school. We call it high school 10th grade. And he joined one of the religious orders. And by that time, when he came for the vacation, he asked me, would you like to join? Then I said, no, I don't.
Finally, someone said no.
Then I continued my college graduation, but I couldn't get through. I failed for the final examination.
Oh, no.
Then I understood this is a kind of punishment from God. So I thought, I made a promise with God after my examinations, the second chance examinations. If I get through, I pass this examination, definitely I will join the congregation, or not a congregation, I'll join in a seminary.
Yes.
So that result came 1 month late. Actually, it came by end of June. It's supposed to come end of May. And by the time the result came, I knew that I am passed. Then I decided to go to seminary. And another cousin of mine, we both of us went to a minor seminary, the diocesan seminary. And when I met the rector, he said, this year we have plenty of vocations. We cannot take any more unless you get a letter from the bishop. Then we are so sad, and we wanted to come back. Immediately he asked, do you want to become a diocesan priest or a religious priest? At that point, I don't know what is the difference between the diocesan priest or a religious priest. I said, I want to become a priest, whether it is diocesan or religious. Then he said, go with this priest. There is another priest who came to teach. One of our Vincentian priests came to take class in the seminary, another seminary. So he was about to go back to his seminary. There is a vehicle. So he asked the priest, here is a candidate came for become a priest. Do you want to take him to meet your vocation promoter? Then he asked him and he agreed, and both of us, my cousin and me, went to the Vincentian Minor Seminary. That is just a few miles away from the Diocesan Minor Seminary. Then I met the vocation promoter. He asked me some questions and wrote me some essays and so on, asked about my family and so on. Then immediately he said, okay, you are good. I will come to your home to meet your parents and family members. And within few days he came, and in between I revealed to my dad and mom. Before that I did not say that I want to become a priest. Then my dad got upset. He never knew that I would go to seminary. Because I am the youngest son in the family. We have a tradition that the youngest son should take care of the parents. So the house and a little more property would get to the youngest son. So parents becoming more than 60 that time, I think. Then dad was upset, but mom said, if it is his plan or God's plan, let him go. So mom encouraged me. And then the priest came and talked with them and agreed, get ready within 10 days. You have to come, what all things needed, and buy and come to the seminary. And I got everything and got ready and went to the seminary. And that was end of June, and from 1990. That time I was 20 years old. Then I had already I studied 2 years of my college, so my formation was 10 years, so reduced to 2 years the college education.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was 30, I got ordained. So I'm a priest of 21 years now.
Wow.
So that is.
So 21 years for you, Father Naveen. How many?
This is my 9th year. I think next year it will be 10th.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
Father Sanjay, how?
This is my jubilee year, 25th
Oh,
year.
Congratulations.
Started
That's
on
wonderful.
11th October, yeah.
Oh, so
Wow.
exciting.
Actually, the amazing thing is they are the most youthful priests I've ever seen in
Yes.
my life. Considering how, they're all very young looking,
We had
aren't they?
when they first came to the parish, we had them at in our youth group meeting, and we had the kids guess how old you were. Some of them were like all over the place. They're like 30, 25, 40. It was fun.
That's that good
to
skin.
hear.
Good Indian skin.
Mm-hmm.
Father, can you talk us a little bit about what the charisms of the community are? Like, what does your community really try to focus on most of the time?
Okay. The Gospel of Luke, chapter 4, verse 16. The Spirit of the Lord is upon me because He has anointed me to bring good news to the poor. That's evangelization of the poor is our charism. But we do it, quite a few different ways. Our main focus is preaching. We have two kinds of retreats that we provide, and most of all of our priests during our seminary years are prepared and formed to do these ministries. Our main ministry is parish mission retreats. We call popular mission retreats. Started by Vincent de Paul himself, but continued that through the congregational mission, but also through us Vincentians. So we go to a parish throughout the world. We do this. We started Sunday evening to Friday evening. So it's morning we have mass and a small talk. Evening we have a bigger talk. During the week we go to every house within the parish. And then during the day we hear confessions as well. So that's one ministry that we do called parish mission.
Wow.
Renewal of the whole parish. So we try. The whole parish will be divided into smaller units. So we have 2 priests for each of the units with a music minister. So it's so that we can visit every family. But our parishes are not in India or not as large. Like we're supposed to be 6,000 families, registered families here. Not that large ours.
Yeah.
The second one that we do is we have many retreat centers throughout the world. I think we have, how many we have? 50 some retreat centers,
Wow.
I think. We do have a couple of them in the United States too. We have one in North Jersey, close to Blue Army Shrine, Washington there, and one in Tampa, Florida. So that is residential retreats. And we do a lot of charismatic renewal retreats. So that's one part of our ministry. Second one is education. We do provide, education. We have larger schools in the cities, but we also have very remote mission schools where, children are unable to pay. Our city schools are English medium schools where the medium of education is English because India has, many different languages. So it's like the Catholic schools here. The students pay, the parents pay for education. But our mission schools in the remote village areas, we provide free education, and so that's. But we also have junior colleges, colleges for media. We have quite a few colleges.
Wow,
in media.
really?
Yes.
Oh, that's awesome.
We are really into media work. We have actually a couple of evangelization TV channels.
Wow.
Really?
Yes.
Mike.
Yes.
I'm all of a sudden I'm thinking
Yeah.
I gotta make a move
Goodness
to India
TV.
at some point.
Yeah.
Is
We
this
have
Goodness
Goodness TV.
Goodness TV.
Goodness TV.
TV is our TV channel.
Okay.
We have media colleges associated with this.
That's pretty cool.
Where we have our retreat centers. We train them in all kinds of media, photography and videography, and you name it.
All right. I'm just warning you now. My retirement plan is to become a college professor somewhere, so I do not
You
mind.
got a job right over there in India.
I'll
Go, Mike.
I will go and teach. Not a
Yeah.
problem.
And the
That's
fourth
amazing.
ministry that we do is we have a lot of social and charitable institutions. We have many orphanages, like 40 some orphanages probably throughout, especially in India and Africa.
Yeah.
We have cancer care centers associated with university hospitals where cancer treatments take place. We provide them free food and accommodation, especially for people those who are poor cannot afford to. For the person who might be with the patient,
Place
if
to
they have to
stay.
go for a chemo or
Yeah.
so because they may have to go far away from their home, so we provide free food and accommodation for them. We have facilities for people with physical disabilities, mental disabilities. Orphan children, of course, people those who are older people who have nobody, elderly who have no one to take care of. So we do have some many social and charitable institutions as well. So those are kind of 4 areas of ministry.
How many people in the community are there? How many priests in the community are there?
576.
Yeah, 576, and we have
That's a lot of work to do for 576.
we have 280 seminarians too.
Oh, that's awesome.
that is-
Alive and well.
That is heartening right there. I like to hear that.
Yes.
That is fantastic.
And the reason we get those vocations is because of our parish missions.
Really?
Because we go and, whole week we are there. They see us preach and minister to people. So that brings us a lot of vocations.
So when is that starting here? Are you going to start going to the mountain? That sounds amazing. Just going to visit the people. Oh,
Well, that's actually one of the beauties of this parish now, and I have to give credit to our Bishop Sullivan, who's done this in a couple of communities. He's actually made a point to consolidate community members into single parishes. So the Oblates are running the Cathedral Parish in Camden. There's a I can't remember the order. The Filipino order in Berlin. I can't remember the name of it now, but that's an entire order that's together, and then certainly the Vincentians here. I love that. How do you feel? Because for many years you were an associate in another parish. Is it nice to have your sort of community whole again for you?
It is a gift. It's a blessing, because we live together. We have our meals together as much as possible. Especially we try to get together in the evening because of our different schedules. At least the evening prayer and dinner together. And after dinner, we typically have a cup of tea and talk about what's happening. Maybe plan for the next day or next week.
Nice.
So that has been a wonderful gift from Bishop, for us, because I have been in the diocese for 18 years. This is my 18th year. 18 years, I have been in 4 different 1, 2, 3, 4. This is my 5th place, but this is again finally
It's your first time together.
Yeah, able to pray together, and even sometimes pray in our own language, and it is beautiful. It's a gift.
Well, that actually begs the question, Father Sanjai. How did you get to the United States? How did you end up in the Diocese of Camden?
Boy,
did I ask a loaded question?
I came in 2004 to the diocese. I worked in India 7 years in different settings, schools, social work programs, orphanages, retreat centers, all different places. My community wanted me to do some education in counseling. And so I was in a retreat center in the city of Mumbai, in a charismatic renewal retreat center. And my brother priest there and my superiors, so the gift in me, I think, to provide counseling. So when they looked for a place to send me, they said, you have to go and work somewhere. We will not be able to provide for your education, but if you can work and then go to school, then we will send you somewhere. And so I came here to the diocese in 2004 to work, to do pastoral work. And along with that, on my day off, I went to... First, I started La Salle University, but then I transferred to Newman University.
Mm-hmm.
I did my master's in counseling there, spiritual direction there, my PhD candidate there in counseling, counselor education supervision. So that's how I got here to work and then go to school.
That makes sense. Now, going back to your discernment story, your vocation story, you were talking about how your father wanted you to become a physician, when in reality you have been a priest, but you've been in hospitals quite a while. You were the director of the chaplaincy program for our Vitality Catholic Healthcare Services for many years, where you and I would work on the same floor together and avoid each other. And because I'm an introvert, and he knew I was going to put him to work, so he knew exactly what to do. But so how has it been for you to be a priest working in the healthcare field? Do you feel like you've been able to blend the two things together? Yes,
really well. I started actually as a chaplain. My first 3 years, I was in Shore Medical Center in Summers Point. I worked as a chaplain there, and I helped at St. Joseph's Church in Summers Point. That was my first experience. It was initially it was scary. You're new in the country, and you have no idea. The second day of work, I was asked to come and do a prayer service because one of the staff members had passed away, and with the CEO and the whole staff, and I was really mortified. The baptism by fire.
Yes.
But those 3 years were beautiful experience of, again, spirituality and ministering to people, getting to know a little bit about the medical systems here, and again, that pastoral care. When I lost my mom. For a few years, I was in the seminary, and I just could not go to the hospital. Anytime, I would shiver, I would shake. That scared I was. And so I always was afraid if I had to, as a priest, I had to go to the hospital and minister to people. Something, God worked when I was ordained, when Bishop laid his hands on me, that fear went away.
Wow.
And I really loved that work, because we are with people at a very difficult time, when they're going through a difficult time. So those 3 years really formed me to do later as the director of hospital chaplaincy for the diocese for 6 years.
Yeah.
And so I was able to, work with a lot of priests, religious sisters, deacons, trained lay people, and about 230 Eucharistic ministers in 14 hospitals and 4 facilities. 18 of them we have within our diocese. And again, that was exciting because we didn't have this vitality. Yeah. It's almost like I am Deacon Jerry, myself, a couple of us, we were the pioneers. We were able to put the program together, the healthcare service. So that was a beautiful experience. Yeah. A lot of learning. We could use our creativity because nothing was in place. So. Yeah. And Naveen, as part of the team.
That's
for
right.
a couple of years with me, yes.
That's right.
And Father, you still are doing hospital chaplaincy now, right?
Yes, I'm still doing. I'm the chaplain of the hospitals, 2 hospitals, Malika Hill Inspira and Washington Township Jefferson Hospital. I enjoy this ministry. In the beginning, Father Sanjai helped me a lot. Thanks to Father Sanjai, with a lot of experience, a man here, and. When I speak about my ministry, before coming to United States in 2018, I lost my mother. So she was admitted in the hospital. So I stayed with her 8 days beside her bed. Yeah. My niece, of course, she is a ICU nurse. So she was in the hospital. And so she died in my hands, in fact. So when I came here, the ministry is same, I felt. So whenever I see a patient, I remember, we connect the experience. So I remember my mother, and I may not be able to do the same way, but I wanted to do this ministry, what I did for my mom, sometimes I feel. And a lot of experiences in the hospital when I pray with them, when I give the communion, or when I anoint. One of the beautiful experience in Jefferson, Washington Township Hospital, one elderly man who was unconscious for 2 days, and they called me for end of life, whole family around the bed, And one of the Eucharistic minister, he was also with us. So they asked me, Father, can you give the anointing? So we prayed. As you know, at the end of the anointing, there is Our Father prayer. So we started all together holding hands, and we started to pray Our Father. So we hold his hand also, though they are unconscious. So he got up.
Wow.
He got up and he said the Our Father prayer. Then he said, please, Father, can you hear my confession? Please all be out. Then he sent them all out, and I stayed with him, and he made his confession, and I blessed him. Then I called everyone, and they were very happy. I left, and I came back to the rectory. After 2 hours, I got a call that he passed.
Wow.
But this is a beautiful experience.
So beautiful.
That is a wonderful way to go.
You will never forget that story.
Yeah,
that is
so I enjoyed the
profound.
ministry.
Wow.
Yeah, that is, wow.
It's incredible.
And that happens through, because, one of the things that we often do is providing sacrament of the sick for anyone who is going for surgery, a major procedure. I've seen miracles happening through that, miracles happening, powerful healing.
Yeah.
Well, we should let everyone know that this will not be the last time you listen to Father Sanjai on the podcast. He talked earlier about how he was sent here to become a counselor and to learn that. Well, he is actually famous within the Diocese of Camden for a number of the programs he has administered over the years, not the least of which are bereavement ministry and Stephen ministry, which we have actually never really touched on the podcast, mostly because I'm heartless and I don't even understand. Father, I probably need, I was talking to our Vicar General, Father Hughes, about one of my great shortcomings is that death is something that I actively avoid. And I don't know how to speak to people when they go through losing someone or something like that. And Father actually said, you really need to sit down with Father Sanjai. And I said, you're probably right. It's not going to happen, but I probably should. And then I realized, but if I have him on the podcast, I get to kill two birds with one stone, and there we go.
It's a conversation, and you get to learn.
I finally will learn how to properly appreciate a funeral mass. And
yes, we can set that up. It'll happen.
So you just so you know, you're coming back. Father Sanjai.
Yes, and for our listeners too. Stay tuned for more.
Yeah, because I can't say that'll happen anytime soon, or whenever Kari makes me come back.
Yeah, it'll be good.
So we have a few minutes left. Is there anything you think that I'm not sure many people have probably come into contact with a lot of Vincentians. I'm curious is there anything you would want people to know about the community that maybe they don't, or for that matter, Catholicism in India.
Stumper question, Mike.
Hey, listen, I like to end strong. No, okay.
Or if not, maybe like a transition, how it's been coming from India to here.
One of the things about our faith life in India, I think, is spirituality and prayer is so much part of our everyday life. Mm-hmm. So that I think that's part of how vocations, come from the families, because for all of our families, all three of us here, and in general, our evening prayer is a must in every family.
Rosary.
No matter what happens, 6:30, 7 o'clock, we all get together.
Wow.
Everybody who is in the house, or everybody's supposed to be there.
Yeah.
And typically, the head of the family, I still remember, growing up a little kid, when I would go to my grandparents, my mom's parents' house, my grandfather would lead the whole prayer. And then in my house, my dad led the prayer, or my mom, if dad was not there. But evening prayer, rosary, and then, reading a part of the scripture is an integral part almost every day of our...
Wow.
That is
fascinating.
And look,
that cultivates that prayer life and the vocations.
Yeah.
Makes so much sense.
It is still going on, almost all families. 35, 40 minutes.
Yeah, that culture is lost here in the United States a lot. I think you have to really
off, no matter
work
what
at it.
important show is going on, that is off, and we do.
You do even prayer.
In India, is it like with the youth and all, like do they have sports and all those things in the evening, or is there generally that time in the evening that is, or do you have to create that and families just make it happen?
families make it happen.
They make it
It's
happen.
almost like, an
Amazing.
undertone law, no matter what, you
That's
get
amazing.
home on time for the prayer.
That's amazing.
And of course, church attendance is much, much, much higher. And again, another thing is we have our religious education program is up to 12th grade.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes, up to 12th grade. That is almost a must. When you go to seminary, they will ask you your passing certificate that you have finished 12 years of your religious education formation.
Wow.
Or even for marriage.
Yeah, all the Catholic schools and colleges, and they ask for the marriage, do you have the certificate, the 12th grade, the catechism
Religious
certificate?
education
Like the high school graduation certificate here, that is a must.
Yes.
And so therefore, when they are, then when they are in 12th grade, they are like 18
They've been
years old.
catechized
So
for all those years.
the faith has been much more, ingrained and deeper. And then we have, youth ministries, and even after, once they finish their high school, they still have further programs like what our Acts group here, and
the
it's
young
very
adult ministries.
very active in our parishes.
Father Sanjai, Father Naveen, this has been an absolutely delightful podcast. It flew by, so to our listeners, I hope you enjoyed it as well. I think we're going to definitely have to come back again. We already know Father Sanjai is going to be on, but this has been a great exercise, and I'm looking forward to doing another one of these very soon. So, Kari, thank you very much for setting this up.
Thanks again. Thank you to each of you, Fathers. It's been a joy to be here and share together.
Yeah. Yes, thanks again for having us.
Thank you very much. We really enjoyed it.
Have a great day, everybody.
God bless.
God bless you too.